Welcome back to the Captain's Quadrant. This is our final episode of Agony Booth before the Strange New Worlds premiere next week. We'll be diving every week at 9 to talk about the episode of Strange New Worlds. And I am not alone, of course. We're missing one person. Oh, I believe I'm getting a slight text from my dog. What's going on, buddy? Oh, he took over Jason's place. Oh, but he doesn't know how to run a podcast, so he can't really do anything. But I guess Jace is tied up somewhere. Poor Jace. Well,
I'm sure he had it coming. I'm sure I'm sure Teddy was provoked.
Yeah, sure. That's what it was. So he flew down to Australia and took over.
I think we might have to rescue Jace.
You might have to rescue Jace. That'll be all right. But I'm going to go around the room. I want to say welcome back, Nita, for the Sci-Fi Queen. Of course, my co-host is Jason Roy Gaston. And for the first time in the Agony Booth, the chief himself, Ernesto.
Yes, welcome.
On IG. Welcome, Ernesto. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here. And Jason, it's an honor to meet you. Nita, it's so great to see that beautiful smile again.
There you go. Perfect. All right. So we're going to get into the synopsis of this episode. This week, the wheel was spun, the agony was had, and we had to watch The Muse. The Muse, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A mysterious woman approaches Jake about his future as a writer. Odo promises to do whatever it takes to help Lwaxana Troi keep her baby over the father's wishes, even if it means marrying her himself. All right, let's get into WTF. Did we just... That's still gets me.
And the chicken legs.
The chicken legs still gets me.
That's Captain Chicken Legs to you.
That's Captain Chicken Legs to you.
Admiral Chicken Legs.
Admiral Chicken Legs. That's right. That's right. All right. As per usual, we're going to start with Jason Roy Gaston. What the F did we just watch?
We watched an episode that was half a sweet story about friendship and the other half a bone-numbing, boring fantasy episode that never meshed. I think it was half sweet, half buh.
All right, Ernesto, Chief, tell us, WTF did we just watch?
What we just watched was an acting clinic by Majel Roddenberry and Michael and Sarah. That's what we watched.
Okay, I'll give you that for sure.
And a great appearance by one of my favorite actresses, Meg Foster. Her co-starring in They Live with the late great Roddy Piper was fantastic. Unfortunately, I think they focused too much on the writing on the B plot with Odo and Lwaxana, and unfortunately, Serac and Jake didn't get enough attention. This had the potential to be a phenomenal Jake episode, but it fell short.
Yeah, totally agree. Nita.
Yeah, I think we had a 2-in-1, 2 episodes in one view, and we didn't need it. We could have used those 2 storylines as separate episodes. In my opinion, they would have fulfilled a wonderful episode about Lwaxana and Odo's relationship, and they could have really explored this new alien species, this new relationship, this way of getting artists to fulfill their vision. And it was just, they didn't need to put it all in one episode. I think that separately they would have been able to flourish. I think the actors did a great job with what they were given, though.
Agreed.
Right. Good point. All right, VHS Jace, what do you got to say? What? Oh, Teddy.
VHS Jace cannot be here right now. Can I take a message?
You sound like Optimus Prime.
That was a pretty good primer.
Not bad.
Autobots, roll out.
You know, I watching this, I hadn't seen it in 20 years at least. This is one of the episodes that I always skipped because I have the entire DVD collection and it was like, nah. But there were some cool moments, and I want to say Jake really acted his butt off in this episode.
Yeah.
Sirach was like, when he was supposed to be all messed up, he was falling out of the chair. He was like, help me, daddy, don't go. I gotta get all the Muse out of this later. And I really felt that. And I was like, well, he's acting a storm up. I just wish they did more with this character because
Sirach Lofton was always a great actor. They just never gave him anything to do, which is a shame because I really think that some of Cisco's best moments is whenever he's just being a dad to Jake.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that
father and son was fantastic, and it's still to this day probably one of the best, sitcom-esque father-son relationships I've ever seen.
Yeah, they did have the most beautiful relationship. Very honest, very transparent with one another, and I think that you could have seen that passion roll out in the episode had they been given him an entire episode, because he was very much deserving of that. I think that Jake Sisko should have had that one episode that was about him.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Without a doubt.
The B plot was bizarre to me because, first of all, you have, and this is one of the Easter eggs that we talked about before we got on here. You have this excellent gentleman, voice of Dr. Freeze, the original Kang. All right, he's the Klingon, the 3 Klingons that came back in Way of the Warrior, I believe that was. Yes, and it was Kang Koloff.
Not the Way of the Warrior.
No, it was not the Way of the Warrior.
Blood Oath.
Blood Oath. They had to get the albino.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he also appeared in the Voyager episode Flashback.
Indeed.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I took copious notes.
That's awesome. And that guy, his voice is so distinct.
Oh, he's got a great enunciation too.
Yeah.
We had somebody with a beautiful voice and somebody with beautiful eyes, and just this episode, just people with very interesting, beautiful characteristics.
Yeah.
I wonder, was he a stage actor? Because his enunciation and presence, the way he projects the words, it's like Sisko. Like people say, oh, Sisko is, but Sisko was a stage actor. Everyone was a stage actor, and when you stage act, you don't have the privilege of microphones and things like that. So you do have to project that voice a little bit further out. Use that diaphragm, and he is just such a presence.
Yeah.
One of the first I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead.
No, go for it, buddy.
One of the first lessons that they teach you in any stage acting class is, as they say, to enunciate to the back row.
Yes.
And picture everyone naked.
No.
I do that all the time.
Oh, that's in my normal everyday life. So
yeah.
No, so even whether if you're performing on stage, whether there is microphones or not, the actors should be able to speak in a loud and clear enough voice that the back row can hear you without any electronic help.
Right.
And Michael and Sarah obviously had that type of training.
Yes.
Because that voice just and you can't help but think of Kang. And Kang is one of my favorite Klingons. I identify as Klingon. So Kang is just he's one of the few that actually gave it to Kirk.
Yeah.
So and for him to have that voice.
Right.
It was excellent. He did a great job.
So the thing about Michael and Sarah, he's been acting since the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had this long career of a different type of film. So he's got to actually see the transitions between, black and white into color and from analog into digital. So he has so many experiences. That's why his presence stays so heavily on us. And may he rest in peace. We miss him greatly.
Yes.
But I have one question for Mr. Roy Gaston. Am I mistaken, or was she also Evelyn?
She is Evil Lynn, yes.
Yes,
And,
okay.
Yeah, she was Evil Lynn in the Masters of the Universe movie, which I revisited recently and is not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
She is definitely one of the highlights. She is also going to be voicing a Masters of the Universe villain named Mainframe in the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revolutions.
That's the Kevin Smith show on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
The big mechanical angel thing at the end. She's going to be voiced by Miss Meg Foster.
Awesome, man. That's going to be awesome.
Another Star Trek tie-in in Masters of the Universe co-starred Robert Duncan McNeil.
Indeed,
That's right.
A very young Robert Duncan McNeil.
Very young. You look like a baby.
Yeah, he was baby. Yes.
He was baby what?
He was BB.
Baby Paris.
Yes.
Yeah, baby
Paris. Is that
Nita,
like Baby Yoda?
Yeah, let's say hello to some
That
new
is cute.
faces and such in the comments. No,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
close.
We are going to start with our number one fan, our Spectra Centaurum Cosmic Mom. How are you doing, Cosmic
Mama.
Mom?
Cosmic Mom.
Yay.
Yay. We have Devin here also saying hello.
What's up, Kevin?
We've got Sarah who says, how are you doing, Cosmic Mom? You see, they even like her in the comments. And
Yeah,
she's
I know.
so awesome.
Yeah.
And
Like her
Devin
den
says
mother.
Teddy is causing trouble.
That's right. He kidnapped Chase.
Yes.
What are we gonna do?
We have someone here I haven't seen before.
Kira.
Kierman Gladman says,
Hey.
hello, how are you?
Hi.
Kira
Good to
is
see you.
Welcome
dear
to
friend of
our
mine.
channel.
Kira is a
Awesome.
dear friend of mine from the Star Trek cruise. She came with me. She met me at Philly, where I first met Joe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And a terrific lady. And Kira, thank you so much for joining.
Oh,
Welcome
Kira,
to our
welcome.
nightmare.
We also have the Admiral.
Oh, the good Admiral.
Hello,
The
sir.
Admiral, how are you? You are
Admiral.
not late. You are just in time, Admiral.
Admiral, you're always on time, buddy.
Always on time. We have Mark Richmond, forgive me, saying hi, Chief.
Oh,
Mark,
Oh,
another of the another illustrious member of the USS Growler.
Oh, awesome. What's up, Growler team? Very much
Awesome.
welcome. We pour a
Awesome.
drink to you, sir. And if you're new here, please be sure to help us out. We'd like to hang out with all of you, but it's really important to help us grow with that wonderful subscription button. And if you're here checking us out, please give us a like. It's free and it helps our channel.
absolutely.
Go
And
on,
Devin learned something new today. He said, I never realized that was Evelyn. You see,
Mhm.
we're not just about Star Trek, we're about learning here.
We're a
right.
spectrum channel. We go across all nerdy things.
That's right.
All about the education.
It's all about
That's
the
right.
and
And
the
we're
more
all
you know.
on it too, probably.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mhm.
We have another comment from Kira.
Yes, we do. She says, oh, thanks. Glad to be here. Well, we're glad
Awesome.
to have you here.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so I guess it's now time for a quick commercial.
This is the exploration pod of the USS Enterprise, part of the Star Trek collection, each sold separately.
Star Trek!
This is the Klingon cruiser and the Vulcan shuttle. Vulcan shuttle has a breakaway cockpit. You can pretend they battled through space as you send the Enterprise to the rescue.
Star Trek!
USS Enterprise, Klingon cruiser and Vulcan shuttle from the Star Trek collection, each sold separately by Mego.
Amigo.
Can I
think
just
we have-
say, I would have
there you go.
never been allowed to take any Star Trek toys to the beach. Where do these kids live?
yeah, right. I don't think any.
I don't even know the kids. I just wanted to run up there and take it from them and go, no, no. And I
You're supposed to put
I
that
love the
up.
music.
That's what
Star Trek. I really wish that would have been the theme for A Strange New World. Star Trek.
Devin says, did they do a reverse salsa separation?
Yes, they did. They did. They sure did.
Yes, and Riker
no.
commanded it manually.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Put his arm up on his leg up on the dash and everything. Well, I mean, no Star Trek commercial would be complete, especially when a toy is without mentioning the Ghetto Prize.
Ghetto prize.
The Ghetto Prize is not a line.
Please tell me you got to put spinners on that.
I think I
They
should.
got
I gotta
jacked
put
up in
spinners.
space.
Yeah, I think the Klingons
That is
got
so
to it once
sad.
many times.
Outer
It's the saddest
space,
enterprise ever.
the last
But-
frontier.
Yeah, but
These
there is
be
a
the voyages of the USS Ghetto Prize.
we boldly hope to go somewhere because the ship might not make it.
To boldly go in space.
Hopefully.
That's the goal. All right. Well, we talked about what was about that episode. Now let's talk about.
It looks like gold. Tastes like gold.
It is gold.
Yes, it is gold.
That's right.
So, what could be redeemable about this episode? Jason, let's start it off with you.
I will say again, I think that you'll have to forgive me. My notes closed, so I was trying to surreptitiously open them again. Well, I think that this episode showed a very lovely relationship between Luoxana and Odo, because Luoxana is over trying to win Odo's heart. She knows she's never going to have Odo's heart. And instead of it just being this very bad breakup where they just never talk to each other again, they become genuine good friends.
Right.
And Odo opens up to Luoxana in ways that we've never seen him open up to people before. And it's the same thing with Luoxana. I'm disappointed on some level that this was Majel Barrett's last appearance as Luoxana, because I did want to see what happened with this mystery Troy baby that we never heard from again. Even just a throwaway line on Picard, I just wanted to hear, you know, my brother's coming over for Thanksgiving or something like that. I don't know. But if I had a redeeming feature, it would be that. I love the relationship between Odo and Luoxana. Not romantic, platonic, just a very deep friendship. And Renee Auberjonois and Majel Barrett, R.I.P. to both of them. They were terrific in this episode. No disrespect to Cyril Lofton. I wish that this plot and his plot would have been two separate episodes.
Interesting. Chief, it's all on you, buddy.
What can I possibly add to that? I completely agree. This should have been two separate episodes, with more character development on each side. If they had, by the way, credit where credit's due, the teleplay was by Renee Echeverria, story by Renee, and story credit to Majel Barrett Roddenberry.
Oh, wow.
So girl got paid twice.
Yeah.
So, and directed by the great David Livingston. And we all know how many episodes David Livingston has done, so much so that Picard's fish was named Livingston Picard.
When they've named the fish after you, you know you're doing something good.
You know you're doing something right.
You
Really
made
made
it.
it
You made it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if I dyed my beard blue and I was Ira, what I would have done was make this two separate episodes.
Yeah.
Because it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exploration of that friendship of Luoxana and Odo, it needed more. It left you wanting more. Okay, Jason, I completely agree with you. It is unfortunate that this is well because he's a very intelligent man. And I'm kissing ass to want to make sure I come back.
Yeah. Actually having you back.
You're on the right track.
Yeah, you're definitely on the right track, bud.
It is unfortunate that this was Majel's last appearance because, again, like you said, just to have now we're all left like it's like the last episode of Firefly. What happened?
Exactly.
What more?
Yeah,
what happened to this baby? We know it's a male. We don't know its name. We don't know how was it raised. Was it raised Beta Z? Was it raised with? Did Tavon ever see him? And hopefully, there's a book out there. I haven't read many of the books. I don't know if anyone out there in the chat has read any books about this, if it was even touched on in any books. If so, please, put it in the chat and let us know.
Yeah. Please.
But that definitely needed more story for me. The A plot with Sirach and Meg Foster, that could have been so much. They could have turned that into a horror episode.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Imagine, because let's face it, she's a psychic vampire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And to kill her, because look at that. She just goes right through.
Right. Okay. Here comes Avery Brooks in his, a man called Hawk Badass Best.
Yeah.
Putting that phaser to her, and she's like, really?
Yeah, what is that gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
He did more damage when he punched Q.
Yeah, exactly.
Never showed back up.
Yeah, Q never showed
That's
back
what I'm
up.
saying. That's how you deal with Q.
Yeah.
So if they had expanded that story as well, that could have been a complete episode.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I don't know if it was a time constraint. I don't know if it was a budget constraint. But those two stories could have easily been two separate episodes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If they were, I don't think that this episode would get the negativity that it gets. Now, allow me to say this. Season 4 was probably one of, if not the best season of the entirety of Deep Space Nine.
Of Star Trek.
Everything. And of Star Trek in general.
I would say.
Yes. Bringing the Klingons.
Everything from Way of the Warrior.
Yeah.
I unfortunately turned off my but I mean all the episodes in season 4, barely a dud among them. So It was hard. So it is hard to choose. And I believe that, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, you picked this episode because this episode has the lowest IMDb rating of everything in season 4.
No, so our stuff is generated by a wheel.
Oh, okay.
It's a random wheel.
Yeah, it's a
random
randomizer, and it randomly picks an episode. We put them on. We didn't we just went by the ones that we don't like.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a collective internal base.
Okay. Well, for the record, and anyone can check this out. This episode actually is the lowest rated on IMDb of everything.
Oh, wow.
Even with Move Along Home in the mix, this one.
Move Along Home is season 1.
Season 4.
You're talking about
I thought you meant.
I'm talking about season 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
There's so many gems in season 4. I mean, you can easily just sit back and I have nothing better to do today. I'll stream season 4.
Season 4 was full of masterpieces.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
If I can jump in here for just a moment to answer a question about canon. Here we are. So in beta canon, the books and the comic books, there was another attempt by the Tavanian government to seize custody of Luoxana's child after she gave birth to it. It was unsuccessful. She named her son Baron, which was Tavian for little one. And this was in the ebook, The Insolence of Office. Baron and Luoxana appeared in the Deep Space Nine comic book. And in this one, Luoxana had plans to get married again, and she was going to marry a Bolian. But she called off the wedding when it was discovered that the Bolian was using a telepathic suppressor to keep Luoxana from realizing that he was only marrying her for her money.
That's actually a pretty good story.
That's a great story. Everybody needs a sugar mama, you know.
Yeah, the story was it was from the Deep Space Nine first run of Paramount Comics, and it was called Luoxana Troy and the Wedding of Doom.
Almost Indiana Jones.
You just described my first marriage.
We've been there, bud. We've all been there. Well, both of us have been there. I don't know about these two.
I'm in my first marriage. Nita.
Well, I think that we are on an agreement. This should have been 2 separate episodes, 100%, because they really would have explored that relationship with Odo and Luoxana, and maybe even allowed her to stay on. I thought they should have kept her on Deep Space Nine, have the baby there, have a few episodes with her. I think that she had earned that right, that character in Deep Space Nine with her relationship with Odo, because Oda went back to being alone, because it wasn't until a much longer time that he gets together with Kira. So they would have, I think that they would have developed something really beautiful had they kept them together. And I think that the relationship between that you see developing in the A story with Jake and this Muse and this strange woman, we could have understood, well, what is this alien species? Where are they from? What is happening? I have to say that her clarifying to Jake that he was there in her quarters to work was very good, because it got a little creepy in the beginning. It got a little creepy when this older woman, because he's really young. Like, people don't realize how young he is. He is still a teenager. That was so inappropriate had they allowed that to flourish into something else. But I love the fact that she clarified this is work.
Yeah.
So I thought that those were good things about that. The episodes separately were not bad, but putting them into one episode really cut storyline that could have been explored, because not everyone who watches TV shows, or like, I've read a lot of the books, but I've never really gotten into too many of the comics. So I missed that whole storyline with the son. And that would have been nice to have known at least his name. Because she was ready to pop. It wasn't like she was going to be there for much longer.
No. She was. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'll echo. My favorite moment of this episode was when he was playing like
excellent moment.
He opens up to her like you've never seen before, and he's genuinely happy to have a friend. I loved about this.
I was just gonna say, look at the smile on Renee's face.
Yeah,
that is the most genuine smile that I think Odo has had in all 4 seasons.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think he is
one of the
loneliest. I think he's one of the loneliest characters on these Space Nines. Even after, I think he became even more lonely after he found out who his people were.
Right.
I think that there's that misunderstanding, because he's in a crowd does not mean you're not. That just means you're around people. That's like, I live alone, so I'm alone, but I'm not lonely, right? And I think with him, no matter who was around him, that sense of loneliness was always there, but it was never there when Loxana was there. And that's why I think that relationship should have been explored further.
Agreed.
And there's another great moment when she's like going and explaining all this stuff. She's bumming them all out. I thought that was a very comedic.
Worf's line about I would love to go for a walk.
Yeah, that's right. I was like,
the most dangerous thing in the world is a depressed Klingon. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to disagree with you, Nita. That was a throwback to a TNG episode, which it just came to me, so I didn't research this. But if you remember, one time that Loxana was on TNG and Troy was explaining how she was going through her quote-unquote Bajoran menopause, where her sex drive goes up and everybody on the Enterprise was just getting busy.
Yeah.
Obviously, her depression affected everyone as well, because it wasn't just everyone at that table. Everyone in the bar, even Quark pointed it out. He goes, can you get her? He wanted her out of there.
Yeah.
Because everyone was depressed. That was her empathy going out to everyone in the same way that she got everybody on the Enterprise wanted to get Nancy 01.
Nice and Randy.
She was making everybody on DS9 all
because we don't really, other than her daughter and her, they don't really talk. It's interesting that you bring that up, because that would have been also a great opportunity to learn more about them, because the only beta sets that we ever know really truly is Troy, is Troy and Loxana, right? And their culture very minimally is explained. And I think that it would have been really interesting to have that time with Loxana on Deep Space Nine, sharing that, because you're also only getting from Troy half of a Beta Z.
Mhm.
So
Right.
you are not
Yeah.
affected by her mood in the same
Mhm.
way because of that human DNA as you are with. And we almost had a Beta Z in Voyager, but she dies at the first
Right.
episode.
Yes, that's right. That's right. She, the pilot who brought
Mhm.
Paris up to Voyager. Yeah, she died.
Exactly. And then the other one that they had was a sociopath who was completely disconnected to his abilities. So that was
Right.
useless right there.
Yeah. That's the one that was like dreaming of
Zoids
some
are
other
definitely
chick. Right?
underutilized.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's something they could tap into in a future episode. But let us go to the comments before aftermath.
Absolutely. Now, Perry Fisher has a tidbit of information here saying Robert Duncan McNeil was on All My Children from 85 to 88. That's
Wow.
interesting.
Was he a kid? Like he must have been young, like really
Must
young.
have
super
been.
young?
88?
Yeah,
He would have been about the same age he was
absolutely.
whenever he did Masters of the Universe.
Probably,
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Now-
Baby feast.
The admiral says there was a fantastic. They were fantastic together. I would watch the Odo and Laxana Troy show. Yes, I would too.
Could you imagine an I Love Lucy-esque
Yeah, that
sitcom
would be cool.
with them?
I Love Laxana.
Yeah,
Laxana,
I love Laxana.
you have some explaining to
What
do.
to do? Yes. Now,
Mark.
Mark thinks that the chief is right on. He's supporting you all the way.
My
Absolutely.
superior officer right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
What's up,
we
Cozy?
Cozy here says nailed it. Now, Cosmic Mom has much to say. Let's
Oh,
see.
please.
Was
Is
there a
a
writer's strike going on when this episode was written? Maybe that's why this was 2 episodes joined together. I wonder.
Actually, no.
No,
The best of
writer's
my
strike
knowledge,
wasn't.
it was not. The writer's
No.
strike was going on at the towards the end of season 2 of Next Gen, which is why you had that abomination last episode of TNG, which I blocked out of my mind, and I can't remember. It was the clip episode with Riker.
Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah, the
Yes.
Enterprise. Yeah, we actually
That was all.
did that one. That was rough.
That
Mhm.
was the worst goodbye
That was because of the writer's
episode.
strike.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so sad. Now Kira says there was a long time and life away from the founders. Very true. Even
Yeah.
reconnecting, the time was past and life experiences are internalized and become part of the Odo to make him who he became. Very, very,
Very true.
true.
Mhm.
Very true.
In a
And
lot
the
of ways.
Admiral agrees. Season 4 has a lot of great episodes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You can't
I
go
very
wrong.
seldom-
Throw a Klingon
Mhm.
in anywhere, and it will
And then
be
it gets
fantastic.
so much better. So much better.
I
And this
very
is the
seldom
one with-
agree with the Admiralty, but I
Mhm.
gotta give him that one.
Is this the season where they had the Klingons invade Deep Space Nine?
Yes,
I believe so.
Yes.
season 4.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was that. That episode was insane, especially when Garrick and Goldacott. Who would ever believe that you and I would be fighting side by side? And I was still waiting for him to shoot Goldacott.
You know,
Remember when you fire that phaser pointed at a Klingon?
Right?
I'll try
yes.
to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
My favorite Star Trek blooper, or one of my favorite Star Trek bloopers, is in Way of the Warrior. Whenever the
Oh.
Klingons start beaming onto the station,
Mhm.
the same group of Klingons beam onto Ops twice.
Yes.
Yes,
And
that's
once you
true.
see it, you
can't
will
unsee
never
it.
Never
unsee
unsee
it.
it.
Oh my god, I got to go back and watch that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep, that's
Let us
true.
hop into aftermath.
Now, why don't you go back to your quarters? I'll be along shortly to say hello.
Speaking of Garrick.
That is
God,
terrifying.
Andy
if Daniel
Robinson.
said that.
Oh, Andy Robinson is the best.
Andy Robinson.
He is great, yes.
The best. We have a special for this aftermath. There is a story, I believe, Ernesto will share.
Okay, yes. The very end of the episode. For those of you who have watched it, and if you haven't, check it out right now. At the end of the episode, we see Sirach By the way, kudos to Sirach's handwriting. Just
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Maybe somebody else
Immaculate.
wrote that.
Dude, he has got, for a man, he has got the most beautiful handwriting I've ever seen. But all the writing that he did under what was her name? Anyana's influence. All those pages that he wrote that he gave to his father to read, and the father enjoyed it. At the end of the episode, as the credits are starting to roll, he writes Anselm, Anselm, by Jake Sisko. I believe it was season 4, episode 2, one of the greatest episodes of DS9. Fight me,
The Visitor. Yes.
Yes,
Visitor,
the visitor.
yes.
when that young lady, by the way, Andy Robinson's daughter, when she comes searching for Jake Sisko, played by the inevitable. Damn, his name
Tony
is
Todd.
Tony.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. The incredible Tony Todd,
Candyman.
the Candy,
Yes.
and Kern.
And Kurt.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
When that young lady came searching for Jake Sisko, she said to him, Anselm was my favorite book. So they actually seeded this episode in season 2. One way or the other, they put them together.
Yes,
So
they did.
Jake will write this book one way or the other.
Yep. That's right. So,
Mhm.
and there's another amazing tidbit that Jason Roy Gaston is going to share about this episode.
Oh yes. I forgot that I didn't tell that story.
Yeah,
At the very beginning of this episode, we see Jake up in the promenade, and he's looking down upon people getting off of a transport, and he's making up stories about them as characters, possible characters in a book. And one of the aliens that you see milling around has very dark, almost black skin on his face, and has these bony white protrusions across the entire head. That was the winner of Playmates Design an Alien contest, which I'm still upset about because I designed an alien, didn't even get called.
Not even an email. Sorry, sir, we're not using
an email. It was just a box with a dog.
Not even a thank
I don't
you.
know what that was
Just,
about.
Thank you for your submission.
Yeah.
Mr. Gaston, please quit contacting us. We have filed a restraining order.
Yeah, please abide to the rules of the restraining order, Mr. Gaston. Our good buddy Sean Farrick, who was with us last week, had told me about the visitor, but as a gift, I wanted you to have that moment. And you have another moment because you have the Batleth story, if you're willing to share. Ernesto.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure how this will be taken, but for those of you who were at the last convention, Trek Long Island, shout out to Stephanie. Yes, shout out to Stephanie and Ethan for the amazing work that they did. And FYI, mark your calendars. Star Trek Long Island 2 next year, Memorial Day.
That's right. We will all be there.
Oh, and as will the USS Growler. So, as one of the panels was the incomparable J.G. Hertzler was one of the guests, and they did a panel, The House of Martok. As part of the panel, a wonderful hold on, I want to make sure let me bring this up because I want to make sure that I give the plug correctly. So just bear with me here.
Well, while he's doing that, let me just say I would like to wish the happiest of birthdays to Mr. James Darren.
Yeah,
Fontaine.
Yes,
it's his birthday today. So
that's right. Yes,
happy birthday, Vic, and many more.
Yes, he's absolutely watching. You can comment below, Vic. It's okay.
The Klingon Shop on Etsy.
The Klingon Shop.
Klingon Shop on Etsy. Check them out. Their work is outstanding.
And they're also from Australia.
They are from Australia. So I don't know how it happened, but apparently Stephanie either used a picture of the Batleth or something, but Klingon Shop got in touch with Stephanie and they talked, and the Klingon Shop donated a Batleth and Mechlith, which is what they make. This incredible store. And no, I don't work for them. So I'm not getting anything out of them. If they want to send me something, great. I want the Kurlith.
I
watching. Hey.
They do amazing work. And because of the relationship they built with Stephanie, who ran Trek Long Island, they sent a Batleth and Kurlith, a Batleth and Mechlith, to be auctioned off for charity. And the bidding was hot and heavy, and it went for a nice piece of change. It's not my place to say how much it went, but that nice piece of change and the 4 digits did go to charity. In addition, they sent another Batleth as a gift to J.G. Hertzler. And he was obviously surprised and very touched by such a wonderful gift. I went up to his booth afterwards. A very good friend of mine was his assistant, so I was able to go up and talk to them. And I said to him, oh, JG, that was really cool that they gifted you this Batleth. And he just looks at me and, yes, well, it's very heavy. This thing is it actually is about 8 pounds of steel. And when you go to their Etsy store, you will see just how these are actual size Batleths in, I'm not sure what gauge steel, but these are incredible quality. So yes, it's very heavy. Not really sure about transporting it back home. I offered to help him, bring it out to his car. He goes, well, yeah, you were bidding on it pretty hot and heavy. Make me an offer. I was taken aback. And I was like, and I threw out a number. He was happy to accept it. And I am now the proud owner of the Martok Batleth.
Da-da-da, there it is.
There it is.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yes, I love it. And he having a ball with it. Look at that.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's an amazing.
I feel bad for the neighbors who try to piss you off. Let me tell you.
Now you just need a Klingon uniform, the ridges, and you will be
There we go.
awesome
That's
cosplay.
awesome. Yep, there you go. There you go.
Okay, all right, hold on. All right, hold on.
I mean, you and I do not need the wig. All we just need to do is get some ridges because we've got Klingon hair.
Yeah, there you go.
I identify as Klingon.
There
Yes,
you go. Perfect.
my brother.
Perfect. All right. Nita, do you have anything you want to share in the aftermath?
I think that I wouldn't say that it's hard to classify this episode because I think that saying that it's a bad episode is not really a proper explanation because individually these two storylines are pretty fantastic. But together in one, it just didn't meld. It didn't coexist together very well. They were just too different, completely different. It would have been nice to have seen them separately because maybe Cisco could have been more involved in the Laxana and Odo issue and her baby and protecting her because she's a Federation citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Had they
Federation diplomat.
Yes, and a diplomat. Yes. And having maybe if they would have captured this alien, we would have learned a little bit more about what is it exactly that this space vampire does, and why she does this and what causes the brain to become so overwhelmed that person dies. Because everybody she mentioned that she helped they all died.
Yeah.
So is it really helping? No, not really.
Oh, I always refer to this as the episode where Jake gets sucked off. So.
Yes.
I like to think of it
Yeah,
as this
in
is
more
the
ways than
episode
one.
where the alien is basically Adderall.
Yeah, that's right.
She's
Alien
like
Adderall.
like a souped up Adderall of some
Yes.
sort.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let's turn to the comments one last time before we sign off.
Absolutely. The Admiral is saying, Trek Long Island next year, you say?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, you
indeed.
need to be there.
Duh.
And our friend Mark also, he had a fantastic time at Trek Long Island. And he says, I saw the pictures and videos. It looked like a lot of fun.
It
And
was.
yes,
It was.
it
Very
was-
happy
Absolutely
people.
was.
Can I just say it was my first con
Oh,
ever.
Awesome.
And it was a super privilege to experience this con with my brother from another mother, Joe,
you're welcome.
who made that possible. Him and his wife they just made it so much fun. And
We were also an Uber.
yes, yes. Can I just say that I was picked up in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
taken to Long Island, and brought back home.
Yeah, we were like, do we bring her? Is there a transporter available?
And it was a fantastic time. So if anyone is able to go next year, definitely go. We have a comment here by Super Scuba. Oh, that's Annie right there. Super Scuba is Annie.
Oh, Annie. What's
Yes,
up?
the battle was made for the epic photo shoot.
Absolutely.
Yes,
That's right.
absolutely.
Yep.
Annie is one of our sci-fi queens, who is one of my co-hosts, and that is her online tag name.
Yes.
Your Majesty.
All right. And she's got a crown too, because my
Nice.
wife really said, I don't want to. All right. So that wraps up this amazing episode of the Muse. Chief Ernesto, thank you so much for joining us.
Joe, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I just hope that your fans are not disappointed. Last week you had Sean Federick. I mean, come on. TrekCulture.com to this long-haired lunatic.
No, it's great. It's great because you're closer in our time. We didn't have to like do a special hoogity boogie to get.
Oh,
that
yeah.
done, so.
Time zones can be challenging.
They
for
can be
podcasts.
challenging.
Oh,
They can be
yeah.
challenging, but we make them work because we love Sean and we appreciate him so much for being on with us. It's such a dope time. We've got a lot of exciting people coming on in the future. So much so that we have some spin-off things happening, and we will tell you more about that in the future. But there's no wheel to be spun. And normally when we wrap up with an Agony Booth, we go to the Wheel of Agony. Voice crack. But, this won't be done. The wheel will return at the end of the Strange New Worlds. Yes, we will all be back
Yay.
to talk Strange New Worlds next week, the 15th. I believe Jason will be remote from Japan, right? Or not yet?
I'm sorry, I had trouble hearing you right there. You're breaking up for me.
Would you be remote from Japan at this point or not yet?
Not yet. I think I'm going to be able to do 2 episodes, and then I will be in Japan, and I'm going to try to do 1 remote while I'm there, just
Okay.
for the heck of it.
All right.
Yeah.
So Teddy will
Awesome.
kidnap Jason at that point. Yes. So we're gonna hop in with Ansem Mount and the entire crew of the USS Enterprise.
Well,
For
yeah, I can
Strange
hop
New
in
Worlds.
anywhere with Ansem Mount. I'm just
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you
Yeah,
could.
you
Oh,
trying to climb
and
Pikes Peak and everything.
we're gonna apparently have a surprise.
Teddy, get out of here!
There he is.
Get out of here! Dog. Joe, you got to do something about your dog, man. This is a real problem.
I didn't know he had
He's had been locked up this whole time.
Honestly, we kind of forgot you were here.
Like, I can't deal with this.
I told him
Teddy, what are you doing with that knife? Teddy, don't. Joe!
Teddy, put the batlet down. Put the Oh, we lost.
I'm sure he'll be
we
fine.
lost him. He'll be
We
okay.
got a
I
launch
don't-
rescue mission.
Remember, the Klingon shop is based in Australia.
Yeah,
So
that's
Teddy
true.
might have gotten
That's where Teddy got the weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah. Oh my god.
USS Growler.
Guys,
you
I've
up
given you
for
enough plugs.
another-
Send me a fucking Kurtliff.
All right, guys, that's it for me, Joe Dove. I want to thank again Ernesto, Chief. We're
Pleasure.
definitely going to have
All
you
mine.
back on in the future.
Please,
Special
absolutely.
thanks to Jason Roy Gaston, and of course our sci-fi queen Nita we'll be seeing you guys next week for Strange New Worlds, and then we will be in touch because we have great ideas. We'd love to speak with you again, buddy. It was very cool. I wish you all peace.
Wait,
long life.
Hold on.
Oh.
You're forgetting the most important thing.
What's that?
If you happen to be at Dallas Fan Expo
I forgot.
in Dallas, Texas at the K. Bailey Hutchison Convention Center, I will be there all weekend. So I would love to see you. Come on out, find me. You may win a prize. You may get punched in the face. I don't know. I'm very unpredictable and off my meds.
There you go. All right. So hang out with Jason in Texas this weekend. It's going to be a lot of
your own
fun.
risk.
Yeah, apparently at your own risk. But I'm sure he's a friend.
Bring some blood wine. You'll be okay.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Until next time, peace and long life. Check out SpectrumSanctorum.net for all of our podcast merch. We have an entire merch store ready to give you all the things that you loved about our podcast. And get notified on all of our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and our Spectrum Sanctorum merch store. Follow us today and be sure to hit that bell when you're watching our YouTube videos so you can be notified of when a new episode releases.